Hi, and welcome back to 50s Unscripted, where we talk about life's unscripted moments and share the tools and lived experiences to help others and let each other know that we are not alone. I'm your host, Shelley, and today we're turning up the energy with Paula Vital, someone who has rewritten their life from the inside out. Born in Argentina, raised in Canada, and shaped by a powerful Jewish heritage, she's transformed the drive to overachieve into a mission of mindfulness and deep, meaningful impact. We're diving into her journey from striving to thriving, her upcoming book, Beyond Achievement, and the daily practices that keep her grounded as life unfolds unscripted. This is 50s Unscripted, real stories, real growth, and the freedom to live your life your way. So without further ado, very happy to have you join, Paula, and so excited to meet you in person. We have, through work, seen each other on the little Teams chats, our little faces, but it's nice to actually meet you in person this time.
Yeah, so great to be here, Shelley. I love the unscripted life and so excited to dive into it with you.
I had such a hard time trying to figure out where to even start and even to come up with your background. So I don't feel like I did enough justice because there was so much information that you shared. So anything else that maybe I glossed over that you wanted to share about yourself before we start diving into things?
Yeah, no, I think it's a wonderful introduction. Maybe just one thing. It's interesting as you get older, you kind of see how the dots connect. So one thing that I've been thinking about is how when I was born, you mentioned Argentina, but it was also a very specific time in Argentina. It was the Dirty War, which means that people were disappearing. The government was taking people away that didn't align with whatever they thought was the right way to live. And my parents had been involved in some of these groups. And so they lost a lot of their friends and they didn't know what would happen. Mm-hmm. And then slowly, shortly after that, there was a war in Argentina and my brother was in the army. So this was kind of what I was born into. Mm-hmm. And looking back, that impacted me in the sense that
absolutely,
I was always feeling like there was terror around me and I didn't know why. So even though then I had a pretty normal life, I guess, that terror lived in me for a long time and I didn't really acknowledge it until much later and just kind of unpacking it now.
Yeah, and as you're unpacking it, that would have likely caused a lot of things that would trigger you throughout life, right?
Exactly.
Certain things that would kind of bring it up. So it definitely makes those unscripted moments a little more unknown because you never know based on those memories what could come up later. And so you moved to Canada when you were 6, was that correct? 9. Okay, yes. 9.
Yeah, and I think then what happened, so there was this terror around me and I kind of figured out a way to move through. And my way was just do really well.
Yeah.
If I just do really well in school, we moved to Canada and it was exciting. There was a lot of opportunity here. My parents were overachievers as well. Yeah. My mom was a doctor and she was also a mom of 4. My dad was an engineer and a social activist and I was the youngest of 4 siblings that also did really well. So I'm like, okay, if I just do really well, then I'm going to be safe.
Yeah.
And that was really great because then I went to law school, did all these things, and it was all fine and good.
Yeah.
Until it wasn't.
Yeah. Well, that's it, right? And you did you are a lawyer.
Yes, I am.
So so you have so many skills, and that's one of the things I find sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves to overachieve.
Yes.
And so, at what point did everything kind of change because you had your own unscripted start? Because there was a lot of pressure to overachieve. When did things start to shift for you?
Yeah. So another big moment for me in my history is my parents divorced when I was 15. Mm-hmm. And it was very strange for me because I still do that. My parents really loved each other. But I think that the pressure of the immigration, my mom had to redo her residency. Anyway, a lot of things happened. But it was like the floor fell from under me because I always had my family. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, okay, my parents love each other and we have our family. And then that was gone. And I was 15. So again, I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to feel these feelings right now. It doesn't feel safe. So I'm going to just figure out another way. Mm-hmm. And that became an eating disorder. So another way to control. It's like, okay, so I'm going to look really good. I'm going to be really thin. I'm going to exercise a lot. And then I'm going to do really well in school. And that's going to keep me safe. Oh, and also I think now that I think about it, the looking good was also to avoid the possibility that my husband would then leave me, just like my dad had. It's like, okay, I got to look really good. So then it's like, if I do get married, then I'll keep my husband. You know?
Yeah.
So I would say like high school was a lot of controlling the weight, controlling the grades, getting into university. I decided to go to McGill, which was great.
Yeah.
A lot more control. In undergrad, I had a scholarship, so I had to like keep it. I was always worried about my grades and looking good. And then, okay, what am I going to do next? Go to law school. That was great. It was okay. It was starting to feel like heavy. You know, by law school, it was like, okay, this is like a lot. Kind of like not so exciting anymore. One thing that was amazing is I got to do an exchange in Spain.
Nice.
So I got to go to Spain for a year, and things were like a little bit different there. I was like, wait a second, people aren't working so hard and they're having more fun and joy. So that brought something in. Anyway, but then got back, kept working. It's like, got to get a really good law job. Yeah. And then I got a job in downtown Toronto, in that big gold tower. I always think it's so ironic. It's like literally a gold tower. It's like amazing. Got the job I wanted, sat in that big office, you know, making lots of money, more than I made, you know, for a while after that. But I was still not happy. Yeah. And that, I think that was a moment that I was like, wait a second, like, what is going on here? This achievement was supposed to keep me safe and happy. Like I'm supposed to be successful, and it all looks good. So I have the job, my body looks good. I really struggled to get a boyfriend. I had a boyfriend. Like the life looked good on the outside, and it didn't feel good on the inside. Yeah. And then I started to I had had some depression before, but I kind of got myself back up and going. My mom was a psychiatrist, so she always helped me. So when I got depressed, she would come, she would help me out, and then I would just kind of get back on. Yeah. But the depression started to get more deep in the sense that what that would look like would be, I couldn't really work. Like I would look at my stuff, which was a lot of work, and I just couldn't get to do it in the way that I wanted, and I wasn't meeting people's expectations. And I started to feel like, oh no, they don't like me. I started to make some mistakes. Even just getting up in the morning, getting dressed, that's how I know actually I'm getting into depression. I look at my closet and I'm like, I don't know what to wear. I can't figure out what to wear. And that feels like totally overwhelming. I can't. But it was new to me. And I didn't know what else to do. Yeah. And so I just started to struggle. I would cry sometimes at work. Luckily, I had a really great assistant who would like help me out. She's like, no, you're doing great. But I would cry at work, and I just couldn't figure it out. So my sister meditated. I thought that was super weird. So I actually walked out of my first yoga class. I had a friend who did yoga, and I went and I was like, this is too slow, man. Because I was into fitness, right? That was my other thing. So I got to go to Club Med and be a fitness instructor. Another way that I achieved a lot. So I was into fitness, but this idea of like not doing anything, like what's the point? Everything had to have a goal. Like, so then what's the point of just stretching? Like, am I losing, am I doing cardio, or am I doing weights or, so it's just like stretching. But I ran out of options. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what else to do. So my sister, this seems to work for her, this meditation thing. So I asked her about it. She recommended a book called Wherever You Go, There You Are by John Kabat-Zinn. And I was like, oh, that seems to resonate. Yeah. I've lived in Spain. I had done a year in France. I did Club Med. I'd gone to McGill. I'd become a lawyer. But everywhere I found myself. And if I didn't know who I was or what I cared about, what was important to me, I realized there was nothing. There was no achievement, no diet, no partner that was going to get me there. And so it started to shift everything. And that's when I started my own mindfulness journey. Yeah.
No, that's amazing. Actually, that's one of the books I have on my to-read list is Wherever You Go, There You Are.
Oh, yes.
Because that, like what you just shared, like different pieces resonated with me because I went through my own separation. And I know that for my kids, that created an unscripted moment for them.
Yes.
And they were a lot younger. So my youngest was 8, I think, at the time. So 8. Anyways, I can't remember the other ages now. But so that created their own unscripted. And so then it was trying to help them throughout that, right? And the depression, we never see it when it's happening to us, because I went through the same thing, right? Because I had health issues. I was going through a separation, all this other stuff. And I had the same thing. I would be like sitting in my car crying. I'd be late getting into work. I'd be there on time, but I'd be sitting in my car crying, trying to compose myself before I went in, and not realizing that I wasn't meeting what I needed to do, right? And I think what I really liked is you talked about that need to overachieve. So what was it that helped you find that mindfulness? Because that's how I met you, is you've been doing mindfulness coaching at work, and you do those mindfulness sessions. And it's funny when you said, like, you walked into your first yoga and you're like, what's the point? I remember sitting in on my first meditation, and because I was so stressed at the time, I was like, this is ridiculous. And I logged out. I was like, what is this crap? I can't deal with this. Like, I need something that's just going to help me calm down. This isn't going to help me calm. And I wasn't even open to it, kind of thing. So how did you, like, when you started that meditation, how did you find a way to actually slow down? Like, was it the book that kind of got you going, or was it something from the sessions with your sister?
So the best thing, and this is what I recommend to people that want to get started, is join a group.
Okay.
Because it's too hard to do by yourself. Like, your mind has been doing and planning and whatever the patterns have been for so long, you can't just flip a switch and be like, okay, now you're going to relax. Like, it just doesn't do that. And it just makes you, like you said, it just kind of makes you pissed off. Like, what do you mean relax? I can't relax. I got these things to do. I've got kids. I've got a job. I can't relax. So I did an 8-week course based on the mindfulness-based stress reduction by John Kabat-Zinn, who wrote that book, Wherever You Go, There You Are. He was one of the pioneers in bringing this work to the West. He was a doctor and helped people with chronic pain through mindfulness and chronic stress.
Oh, very nice.
So I did that 8-week course. I really, really loved it. Had a wonderful teacher, Heidi Walk. And the upside of my achievement personality is that I'm very disciplined. Yeah. Which what I've learned now through my clients and students, that's not the case for everybody. So discipline is something else that people have to work on. Luckily, I had that. So I'm like, okay, so I'm going to meditate every day. And at the time, it wasn't like now. Like, now when I teach, I say you need to do 3 to 10 minutes a day. 6 days a week. So, because you need to start switching. They said you need to meditate 45 minutes a day, from day one. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And they gave you guided, which I also recommend. So John Kabat-Zinn would talk to me and I would do what he says. But sometimes I couldn't even sit. So I would just listen to the guided meditation and do stuff around my house. I was like doing my house and he was talking and he was like, yeah, the moment is all there is. And I was like, huh. And I would just keep doing my thing, right? Yeah. So I would say guided meditations, a group. Ideally, I had a lot of factors in my favor, like the fact that my sister was doing it. So if you have somebody in your life, a friend or a colleague or family member that's doing it with you, easier to do it. So by class 3, the other thing that happened was the message really resonated with me. Yeah. He said something like, you're more than just your thoughts. And I was like, what does that mean? I've been my thoughts my whole life. I use my thoughts to figure things out. If I have a problem, I do pros and cons. But I got really curious about that. Who am I beyond my thinking? And his whole concept of just being you is enough. You're enough already. And you can do things, sure, but we're human beings. We're not human doings. The value doesn't come from your doing. It comes just inherently by the fact that you're alive and you're here. I love that. And it's enough. We don't have to do anything.
No, you don't. No, that's great. I love that thought. That's a great way to put that.
Right. So then I realized I'd gotten it all wrong. Yeah. I had gotten it wrong. I thought you got to earn your value and then you're valuable. Right. Yeah. And no, it was backwards. So I'm like, I'm going to teach this. So by class 3, I said, this is going to be what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And
and you know what? That is brilliant, because when you look at it, we talk about trying to remember, everybody's worried about what's my brand, but your brand has to align to your values. And you just have to, it's not about shoving it in their face. It's about when you leave the room, you want them to remember you from how you were being. Yes. And the feeling that you left with them, right? And that's by being yourself, by being authentic and being true to your values and not just, using whatever fluffy words of the day kind of thing, right? So Yeah. I love that. And for myself, one of my hardest things has been my inner critic, because I have a very, like, my mind does a lot of negative self-talk because I'm very much a people pleaser, right? So that's where sometimes it's the like, oh, you can't even calm down. Like, look at you.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
Yeah. And then something that I've been really embracing recently in terms of the critic or other personalities or habits that might come up is this idea that it's a part of you.
Yeah.
It's not all of you.
Yeah.
And that the work isn't to get rid of it.
No.
That's a big misconception with people that start mindfulness practice or meditation. They think they're just going to get rid of the critic, get rid of their anger or their sadness or their depression, whatever it is. You're not getting rid of anything.
No.
It's almost like a zoom out. So say the critic is like, why are you doing this? You're going to fail. Everybody else is better than you. Really, just forget about it. You know, it's never going to work for you. You could either believe that, and a lot of people, it's called blended. There's a system called internal family systems where they look at this as the founder, Richard Schwartz, talks about when you blend with your critic, then you believe everything the critic says, and then you just do that. Yeah. If you can unblend, so you kind of zoom out and you're the blank screen behind the picture, and the critic is like, bah, 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 like Inside Out is a good movie about
I love that movie.
It's like, bah, 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 bah. It's like, okay, well, thanks for your feedback, right? And then you can talk to it as you would a person that's like, well, you're not going to do that. You're going to fail. Like, you wouldn't talk to your friends like that.
No.
So then it's like, oh, thank you for letting me know. And usually they're just protectors. Yeah. They're just parts of you that we're trying to keep you safe, just like I had my achiever self. Yeah. So my voice would be like, well, this isn't good enough. You know, you need to do more. You need to do more. You need to do more. I'm like, oh, thank you. That's great. And the voice doesn't go away. Yeah. And you kind of rechannel it. It's like, okay, well, let's do some things together, but not so much that you're not enjoying it anymore. Because if not, what's the point?
Yeah, no. And I love that you mentioned Inside Out, because I know in an episode I filmed as well, I talk about Inside Out because I did a lot of the emotions, feelings therapy with my daughter and stuff, right? So we did a lot of that, how to understand what your triggers are, how your brain reacts. Like, so, you know, that inner critic, that brain boss isn't always telling you what to do. You can kind of listen to it. So what my mentality has been is I've kind of focused on, instead of an inner critic, make it an inner champion. Because to your point, there's a protectiveness there, right? Like all the sadness, the anger, because we're remembering all those core memories, those different triggers that set us off, right? So it's when you remember those things and then, you know, trying to tie it so that, okay, so this is the warning, but you know what? You did okay. Like, yeah, you know, you struggle with this. So if you're going to do it, you're going to have to think about this. So trying to turn it into that, like, so it's not just the negative, it's kind of growing. So no, that's amazing. I like that. So you've talked about so many coaching programs, coaching experiences stuff, but you have your own coaching program as well that you do, right?
Yeah. So, and again, the way it developed was really interesting because I was an overachiever. So I thought, you know, I got to get all this done now. And for a while I thought I have to leave. So now I work in government. So I switched from private practice to government work, which I really love. But then for a while I was like, well, if I'm going to be a coach, it's got to be like a full-time thing and I got to do it now. And then what I've realized is that to make it joyful and sustainable, it's okay to grow it over time. And so I started with I became a yoga teacher, then a yoga therapist, then a certified mindfulness coach, and started to just offer it. So I offer it at work, and then I started to offer it outside of work. So because my story is that I'm a lawyer, I did a thriving lawyer program. So that's accredited now by the Law Society. Oh, nice. So I've gone to different law firms or legal departments to offer that. And then I created a thriving professional program.
Very nice.
So I offer that to either individuals or also corporations. So I'm going to speak at the College of Dietitians in a few weeks, and I'm going to be doing a session for them. I also realized through my coaching programs that it's not like a one and done thing. I do have 1 hour workshops or 2 hour workshops, but how I work now is I do 6 sessions so that you can learn a tool or a habit, Go out and practice it. See how it works for you in your life. Make it yours, and then come back and then learn and build on that.
Yeah.
So you can do the whole shift from, I'm going to do all the things on the outside that look good and work really hard and really, struggle and, be all tense about it, to, can I make this joyful, fun? Is it really aligned with who I want to be and what I want to do in my life? So that whole inside to outside work is what I do with either individuals or groups.
Yeah, no, and that's great. And that is really it, because you go to it, you learn, but it may not be 100% the way you learn it, because you have to find what you can sustain and what's going to truly resonate and keep you going, right? So you can build those consistent habits and whatnot. So I like that. That's awesome. And so you've got a book coming out now as well. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So again, for a while now, I was like, I should really write a book. I have a lot of things that I'd want to say. So I had a list of different book ideas and different things. And then, it's so good to get support, right? Because it was kind of like this idea for later. But I was chatting with a coach I really like. She has another podcast, actually, Finding Harmony. I've been on that one. And she said, so I was like, oh, I'll do a book later. And she said, well, what do you do now? What's your routine now? Which is something I think we want to talk about. So I always did a little bit of journaling. Yeah. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe even I went through a time where I was journaling for 15 minutes a day. Yeah. And she's like, well, what if you just start writing your book in 15 minutes a day? And it was like, what? I thought I'd need to take time away and go on a writer's retreat. Yeah. Just start writing. Yeah. Just sat out 15 minutes a day and start writing. And so I did that. And through those 15 minutes a day, eventually I extended it to 30, because I felt like I can do 30 minutes a day. Yeah. But starting at 15 was important, because you have to feel 100% you can do it. Yeah. Yeah. And so I figured out my topic, which is beyond achievement, from striving to thriving. I realized that that's really has been my story and what I teach a lot of people, a lot of my clients and students. It's about finding that inner guidance, figuring out what's important to you, that balance between doing and being. Yeah. Mindfulness is a part of that, but it doesn't have to be seated meditation. It could be incorporating attentional skills into different things that you're doing. So I started writing, and now I have a manuscript. I have a book proposal. I'm chatting with publishers who are figuring out the way forward. And it's basically a system that will take you from feeling burnt out, overwhelmed, stressed out. Yes, you're doing all the right things on the outside, but it doesn't feel good, all the way to I'm aligned with who I am. I'm clear on what my values are. It's still a continual discernment, I would say, in terms of what your routine looks like day to day. What are the right things for you? What are the right goals to pursue? But you have the tools to make those decisions and the supports to get there.
That's amazing. No, I'm excited for that. So so you'll have to keep us posted and let us know when that is coming out. And I'll definitely let everybody know. And so you talked about structure briefly there. So structure, you have that for your meditation practice, your daily routine. So you built that structure for writing. How did you start off? Because I know one of the things that in reading Atomic Habits by James Clear, it was starting small, right? Because it's knowing who you want to be, your values and everything, and then finding the small steps to get you there and finding that consistency. So how did you build your structure, and what do you follow through to make sure that you can do the meditation and the mindfulness journey all the time?
Yeah. And I think on this, I've also learned a lot through my clients and my son, who is 16, and he does have ADHD. So structure is harder for him, and it is for a lot of my clients. For me, because I was so driven, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to wake up early. So my struggle was actually to soften my discipline. So I was like, okay, 45 minutes a day, but, and then go to the gym and then go here. And it became really stiff. My structure was very stiff. And so I've had to soften it over the years to have a bit well, you know what? I know that I usually sit for whatever amount of time, but I'm tired. I'm going to sleep a little bit more. So being really compassionate with myself has been really helpful. So I think for each individual, you have to look at what's your relationship with discipline? There's a lot of people that love discipline, they get really tight with it, but then they quit because it's too much.
Yeah.
It's like, I tried to be vegan and it didn't work. So I was like, forget it, instead of like, well, you can just be plant-based. You can eat meat sometimes, so being a little bit flexible for some people.
Yeah.
You want to be not too tight, not too loose. Now you've got the other people like my son who, if you leave him to his own devices, he'll just play video games for like 10 hours. So with him and with clients like that, it is start tiny with something that you enjoy. Okay. You have to like it. So say if I'm teaching somebody to meditate, but they don't want to sit, but they already like gardening. So what I would say to them is for 3 to 10 minutes a day, go into your garden and just be with the plants. Do what you do, but pay attention to it. So when the mind goes to your to-do list or you don't have enough time, you're just being with the garden. And you love it.
Brilliant.
So because mindfulness is all about paying attention in an intentional way, that you get to choose what you pay attention to. And where your attention goes, energy flows. So then that's what starts to manifest in your life.
That's brilliant. Yeah, no, that makes so much sense because that like you said, it's about being intentional in our thoughts. And so if it's something that you already do, making sure you're present in that moment and that you're focused on what you're doing at that time instead of listening to all the other stuff and parsing it out. Because I got diagnosed after 50 with ADHD. So I had the drive, but then I would get to the point where it would be too rigid and I would stop, right? So I kept having that struggle. And then the inner critic was out of control too because I wasn't dealing with that. So it was a lot of things. But no, those are amazing, amazing statements. So you mentioned about community, doing it with a group. And I think you're part of a meditation community as well?
Yeah. So I have a few. So in government, in our work, we've created a mindfulness community. So I knew that I needed to have a community to have the work be sustainable. So I've met with like-minded people like you, Shelley. So you want to find your people, right? So wherever I am, I try to find my people. So I've done that at work. Then outside of work, I've had various ones. So I go to Yoga Therapy Toronto. That's where I became certified as a yoga therapist. I also got certified in Unified Mindfulness, which was created by Shinzen Yang. And it's a secular, super effective approach to mindfulness that he's presented at Harvard and Carnegie Mellon. Very good for busy people, professionals who don't love to meditate. So I'm part of that community. I'm also part of one called MIDL, Middle, which is all about the middle way, not too tight, not too loose, and integrating those ways of paying attention in your life. So I would say to everybody, just find your people. Because if not, it's going to feel very countercultural. Culture is all about getting things and doing things and going fast. And mindfulness is all about slowing it down a little bit, which doesn't mean that you don't get to do as much or achieve as much. You just go for the right things for you. So actually, I think you end up achieving more, ironically.
No, that's right. Because when you find something that fits for you, then you're going to achieve what you're setting out to because it no longer becomes work or a chore, right? It's enjoyable. And I think you've talked about that, finding what brings joy, right?
Yes.
Because you mentioned that being an overachiever, like you were doing so much, but you weren't finding the happiness anymore. So how do you find that balance between the two? You'd also mentioned, and not today, but in when we were talking beforehand, a fearless mastery program. I'm intrigued. What is that?
Yeah, so that's another one. I have many communities. So Leo Barbauta is the founder of Zen Habits.
Okay.
And his story was he had 8 kids.
Oh my goodness.
And he was overweight and smoking and didn't, know what to do with his life. So he started doing these little tiny habits. So he started with smoking. And then he moved it into movement and getting into shape. So he started a blog called Zen Habits. And this was already, I think it's been 10 plus years since he's done it. So he has a new community called Fearless Mastery. And I joined that one because I had started writing my book. But I knew that to take it to the next level of publishing it, getting it out there, figuring out what to do with these pages that I'd written, I'd need support. And I didn't know which one. It's all about also connecting with your intuition. I'm like, oh, I know I want something, but I don't know what. And then I saw he was advertising his Fearless Mastery program. So it's basically a 6-month program, and you pick a breakthrough project, something that you want to do that's a little bit hard, that you almost feel like maybe you can't do it, but with the group, you can do it. Okay. So my breakthrough project is my book. And that's what we do. We meet weekly and we support each other. And I have to say, I have broken through the fear. I think the fear comes from being outcomes driven. So I want the book to look a particular way. I want people to like it, as opposed to I just show up and I do the work every day. And then let it unfold and emerge in whatever way it's supposed to emerge. And then there's no fear.
Yeah. And I think that's great. And I love that idea. That's really fabulous, because I know in even starting the podcast, right, there was that fear. I came on a friend's podcast first. She does the sandwich years. And I was so nervous getting up to go to it and everything. And then Dan was like, well, you need to do your own. You have lots to talk about. I'm like, I don't know. And it was just that fear. And like you said, like, well, would anybody even look at it? And the people pleaser side of me was like, oh, I don't know. What if nobody likes it? What if somebody says something mean about it? And like just trying to get through that. So yeah, but that's amazing. That sounds so great. And I love the theme and breakthrough, because you do that every year, right? You look for a theme and breakthrough project for yourself each year. Yeah,
I didn't realize that's what I was doing. But yeah, every year I think, what is it that I want to work on? And I pick one area. And I recommend this for people. Because people, when they're not feeling well, they want to change all the things. And then changing all the things is impossible. So then you just go back to your regular standard habit, and then you feel bad about yourself. So instead, just pick one area of your life and then pick one thing that you're going to do. Like maybe it is you're going to start going to the gym, or you're going to quit smoking, or you're going to write a book. It doesn't matter, or you're going to spend time building friendships. Like that's another one that I think maybe next year I'll do friendships, so you can do it. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It can be something small. And then you commit to daily practice towards that. And that's where the magic happens, because you won't feel like doing it.
No.
There were so many times, like now I recently started a Substack to share, because what Leo said to me is, you have to start sharing the stuff in your book. People want to know about it. I'm like, oh, I don't know. It's not ready. It needs to be published. I need to publish. It's like, no, you just need to start sharing it. So I decided to do that on Substack. But I didn't know the tech. So I was like, oh, well, I can't do it because I don't know the tech. And he said, oh, well, let's figure it out together. So we go on and we figure it out. So you spend those little moments, whatever the 15 minutes you've carved out for yourself to work on break through. So it's like, I can figure out tech now, or I can get people to help me, or you can ask AI, right?
That's it.
So so I think it's like picking the thing, expecting resistance. That's another huge one. People think it's going to feel good when you're working towards the things that you want to do. No, because the mind likes comfort. It's like you're sitting with a big thick blanket, and then you're like, oh, let's go for a run, and your mind's like, no, this is really cozy.
It's what you're
so
comfortable
you gotta
with.
Take it off and go.
No, it is. It's finding that ability to balance fear and take that chance and put yourself out there. And I do like Substack for that, because I've been doing articles, and I was like, okay, I'm writing this stuff and I want to share some of my stories. And so, so no, Substack is great. So now I have to get into the really fun stuff. Club Med. So not only, I know you referenced the Village fitness instructor, however, you were also a dancer for all their shows. How did that come out? Let's hear this story.
And that's why I love the title of your podcast, because it was so unscripted. What I was really trying to do that year. So this was my second year of university, and I had the summer off. You get 4 months here in Canada. So, I wanted to volunteer at some NGO or something. But then I realized to volunteer at an NGO, you actually have to pay. You don't get paid. You have to pay money to go. And So I was like, oh, I don't have money. Like, I just want to. And then my brother is like, you should work at Club Med. It looks really fun. He's older. So he's like, if I was your age, I'd go work at Club Med. And funny enough, Club Med was doing their interviews in Montreal where I was like that
perfect.
week or the next week. So I go to this interview and it was like just a social event because I want to see how you relate to other people. And I got the job. So when it's the right thing for you at the right moment, it flows. So I got the job and then I got there and I'd always loved singing and dancing, but I'm not very good at it. But it turned out they do shows every night. So then I became friends with a choreographer from Brazil and I was like, oh, I'd love to be in the shows. And so I became a dancer in the shows.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, when I read that, I was like, what? We need to talk about that. That's really cool.
Yeah, so just being open and I think saying yes to things and being able to look silly doing it, I think is a big part of it.
Yeah, you have to take that risk and know what to say yes to. And that's one of the things that as I've been going through my transformation, I've been trying to say yes to more. So that's where I went and I did an open mic night. And
nice.
I am not very good at playing guitar. I'm learning, but I went out and I did that and it was fun. You know, it was saying yes to something different. I have not been back. I probably should go back and do it again, but no. And then you've also spoken at a TEDx talk.
Yes. Yeah. So that was, again, another opportunity that came up. I saw an advertisement. We're doing TEDx and the theme was curiosity.
Oh, nice.
So I said, becoming curious about your own mind. That's what I do.
Yeah.
So I think how it works is opportunities are presenting themselves all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to learn to tune into your own intuition about it. And this is where mindfulness comes in. The more you can pay attention without directing the attention, without the doing, but just open awareness, then you're like, oh, that sounds interesting. So I connected with the TEDx people. And the cool thing about TEDx is that you get a coach.
Oh, nice.
So this was earlier on in my teaching career. So I had a story, but it was kind of like long and all over the place. And then with my coach, I was able to hone that story to what had happened to me, which was, do, be in habitual mind. And then at one point become curious about how your mind is working and its habits. So I did the TED Talk and it was really fun.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I love how you said that as well, because one of the things I had to learn for managing the stress and anxiety, because I was having panic attacks and stuff, was being able to sense when my body was experiencing those. So it's an interesting twist. I never thought about that, using that same perspective of paying attention to how my mind starts to act when I start to look at it. So that's a brilliant thing. Like I never even put the two together because they do make sense, right? We pay attention to when we start to feel tension.
Yes.
We should pay attention to when we start to have those racing thoughts and stuff too. That's brilliant. I like that.
That's right. And it's also what you'll find when you start to observe it is that they're one system.
Yeah.
Right. So the mind affects the body affects the mind, and you can go in different ways.
Yeah.
So you can go in through your body. Breath bridges the two. So you can use breath. Or you can use the thoughts themselves. So that's why some people do affirmations. And like you said, it's so individual.
Yeah.
So this is something that I've realized in my coaching programs that everybody has to figure out. And the right coach will help you figure out what is your way in.
Yeah.
Is it the body? Is it the breath? Is it the thoughts? And
No, this has been amazing. There's so much stuff. And I think one of the last things that I remember you referencing is you said you wanted to connect with people to talk about what achievement means to them and how they maintain their joy and harmony. So you have people that just reach out to you and then like, how are you using that information or?
Yeah. So this is my brand new part of my breakthrough project. So what I did was I thought about my book and my system. And I said, well, let's see if it works.
Yeah.
So let's try it out with people. So I have two ways that I am going to try this out. So the first one is next week I have my first podcast.
There you go.
So I'm going to be doing a conversation with a lawyer friend of mine about achievement and what's going on with him and how he finds balance. And also if people want to find a way through, like maybe they are not feeling so successful, they're feeling a
Mhm.
little burnt out or a little bit confused, and these conversations can help clarify. So one option would be on the podcast. Another option is to do a private conversation.
Yeah.
So I have a few of these scheduled as well, where we would just meet. It could be over Zoom. And we can talk about what achievement means to you, find your way forward, and then insights of those conversations might go in my book. So
That's
it would be helpful
amazing.
for me, helpful for the people that are coming on. So yeah, I welcome everybody to reach out.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And this was fantastic, and I love it. And I do love and now that I've slowly figured out mindfulness, sitting in and listening. Like you've run some amazing sessions, and it's been great. And honestly, I'm thrilled that I finally got to meet you in person. It's like I've heard of you. We've talked and everything like that. So Sherry was actually on the show not too long ago,
Great.
and I know Sherry and I think that's how I connected the first time, because you had done a meditation or something that she had encouraged us to attend or whatnot.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's great. Any advice or anything you'd like to say to anybody before we wrap up?
One of the best pieces of advice I got was don't suffer alone.
Mm-hmm.
So if anyone's feeling like I did when I was in law, where I was just kind of hiding it and just trying to keep it all together, and my body was telling me you can't do this anymore, there is a way out, and it's actually an opportunity, even though it feels so bad at the time. Getting the right support to move you in the direction where your spirit, your soul, your self wants to go, it's worth it.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful that you were able to come on the show, and this was a fabulous conversation. And when the book comes out, you're going to have to come back and we'll talk about the book and everything as well. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much. This was lovely.
That's great. And thank you to all of you who joined in today. Please do remember that if you enjoyed, like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Stay tuned for more exciting stuff. You can find us online at 50sunscripted.com, and be sure to, I think I said this already, but if I didn't, like and subscribe. You want to keep following. You want to hear more. Thank you so much for joining. Be kind, be strong, be you, and we'll see you next time.